What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, and today we just have to laugh about the fact that apparently there is a chunk of the internet that is downright upset that Ghost of Tsushima is actually going to be hard. Yes, that's right, the Samurai Simulator is apparently going to be pretty dang tough. Now, to me personally, that gets me hyped. I've already been excited for this game, but the fact that it's going to be so punishing and so rewarding sounds like something that's going to make this even more fun. Now, of course, I am a little bit biased. I like hard games. I beat about 40 to 50 games every single year minimum, and in my opinion, as somebody who tries to beat every new game that comes out, I have noticed that difficulty is ramped up over the course of the last couple of years. With the rise of things like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Sekiro, people are definitely enjoying harder things more. Gamers, I just think in general, gamers have gotten better at beating tough bosses and stuff. But some people seem to be a little bit upset. Now, I want to read some things that are they're hilarious, but let's start off with what makes these people a little bit pissed off, which is this article that just popped over at IGN. Now, normally, I'm not the biggest IGN fan, but I want to give full credit. This guy, Jonathan Dornbush, this is a great interview. I want to give him full credit. This is good. I'm going to link it down below in case you want to read all of it. But the basic gist is that they're talking to the game's director about how when we saw that gameplay demo, people died fast. Whenever he managed to get a really good swipe on somebody's chest, that dude would fold like a freaking napkin. Players won't be able to just go in swords blazing into an encampment and take out a dozen foes. They want you to be felled by a few hits. Now that to me sounds fantastic. He goes on here, we're trying to make a grounded game in that sense, so a couple blows from the enemy will kill you. The game is very challenging. We have 3 words to describe the combat: mud, blood, and steel. We absolutely honor the lethality of the sword. We watched samurai movies and people go down with 1 or 2 strikes, and that is embedded inside the combat. Beating the Mongols in battle will be hard, but it's that challenge that makes it feel alive and the victory rewarding. You can't just run into a camp and fight 5 people at the same time. You will get overwhelmed and die. Now, everything about this article seems fantastic. This seems like a game I definitely want to buy, I want to play, which is why I was a little bit baffled when I woke up this morning and I started seeing tweets like this one here. What is the obsession with making games difficult? If encounters will kill me in 1 or 2 hits, the game shouldn't be over 20 hours long. I ain't spending 40 hours dying by broken AI. Now that's a pretty strong statement, and it seems like something you might just see once, of like, okay, this particular person's a little bit teed off, but maybe other people are fine. When surprisingly not, I decided to look it up, and pretty much everybody seems to be very strangely upset by this difficulty. Honestly, I wish I was hyped for Ghost of Tsushima or whatever, but I'm tired of playing these Dark Souls level difficulty in games. I'd rather just enjoy it for the beauty and the story. Okay, so before we even go to these other funny tweets, let's just put this out here. Not every game has to be for every person. Some games you just can't beat. If you want a big, beautiful game with an interesting story, there's Zelda. I mean, if you're looking for something that is going to be interesting and cinematography based, get God of War. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy this game, but just keep in mind, not every game needs to be beaten by you. This is part of the reason that they never put an easy mode in Dark Souls, is because the point of the plot itself is the fact that this is the land of the dead and everything is just so brutal. Now here's another good one. Soulsborne is ruining video games. Oh my god, I'm sorry, that was just so funny. Soulsborne is ruining video games. This game needs to be a focus of your entire life to progress is not a selling point for me. Okay, I'll admit it. Soulsborne takes practice. If you're going to play something that takes difficulty, it requires practice, it requires focus, it requires some trial and error. You're going to die. You're going to lose some progress. You're going to be punished for every single mistake. But that's also the gameplay loop. It's you basically saying, I'm tired of driving games because every single driving game is on a track. Well, that's just kind of the mechanics. You either love it or you hate it. Oh my gosh. This is the first thing that has turned me off about this game. I love Sekiro, but the difficulty turns me off. I just wanted a fun, open-world samurai game. Now, this is a person I feel like is more balanced. I feel like concerns about the gameplay are definitely warranted. A lot of the early trailers and stuff, maybe you saw them and said, okay, this is just going to be a fun little romp of me exploring a digital version of feudal Japan, and maybe now you're just going, I'm not going to be able to travel anywhere without being mobbed by badasses. I understand the concern, but it's also just kind of funny to me because, I mean, just get good. I hate to throw that out there, but if you can't beat a game, practice it if you really care. So seriously, I was so awful. A couple years ago, like, I got into Dark Souls late. I was definitely not like a Gen 1 person. I had a chance to get into Dark Souls early, and I just went, oh, that looks boring. So when I jumped onto the Dark Souls hype train, it was already enormous. And at that point, I got my butt kicked for months and months and months as I tried to learn these games, figure out the mechanics. I did look at some strategy guides and stuff to get some like how-to tips. But now that I understand the series and that gameplay pacing, it is a better time because of it. I truly believe that if these people just suck it up and practice Tsushima, it's probably going to go on to become a game you really, really love and admire. Now here's another one. To be honest, I don't really want to play a game. A better looking Sekiro, Souls-like games aren't for me. Now I feel like this is a good one right here. It's somebody saying they're just respectfully declining to play it. Wow, another game I would love to play, but it suffers from Dark Souls syndrome. Whoa, I had no idea that this was now a disorder that we had to actually diagnose. I'm sorry, patient, but you've got a very bad case of Dark Souls syndrome. I play games to have fun, not... I'm sorry, I'm laughing about this one. I play games to have fun, not to want to be punch a hole through a solid concrete. I play games to have fun, not to want to punch a hole through solid concrete. I love the idea of this dude sitting down and being like, gee willikers, I can't wait to play the latest PlayStation exclusive. Alright, I can respect the frustration. Not every game is going to be super accessible, but the idea of getting that mad over a video game, I'm sorry I'm laughing, I got some tears in my eyes, that one's good. Come on, man, I just wanted a fun samurai game, not Neo or Sekiro. So as you can see by these posts, it just comes down to the fact that people are genuinely upset that the game is going to be hard. The developers have talked about the fact that they're going to put in some difficulty options to make things a little bit more streamlined for less skilled players, but I think you need to realize this is a game that's going to be accurate. It is going to be trying to simulate the samurai experience. And let me tell you, a 1v1 fight against another samurai, it's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be a joke. It is supposed to be serious in that universe. I'm kind of curious how this plays out, especially because there is going to be a samurai and a ghost mode. People are going to be able to creep around, and people are going to be able to just fight in open combat. But one thing they didn't show in the trailer is that there's some fights in this that can basically instant kill you, and here's where I think people are probably going to be the most upset when the game comes out. Flipping back to that IGN interview with the director, he said this: for those looking for extra challenge though, they can turn to what Fox described as duels against other expert fighters. So clearly, if you get good at this game, there is going to be an incredibly high skill ceiling, which to me sounds fantastic. I enjoy depth. Now, check this out. One thing we didn't show at the State of the Play, which I wish we had, was that the game features duels against other expert swordsmen. This is classic samurai stuff. Those fights are incredibly difficult, and they're driven from a personality and get solved in the most cinematic way possible, which is also true to fantasy. You need to study your opponent and understand how they attack in order to win. That sounds great. So I want to say something to those that are concerned. I just want to be serious here for a moment, which is just, this won't be as hard as you think it's going to be. Yes, it'll take practice. Yes, it'll take patience. Yes, it'll take pressuring your foes. But more importantly, just consider the fact that a lot of PlayStation games, if there's one thing that I think has become ubiquitous to PlayStation exclusives specifically, is they're very, very generous with the checkpoints. Typically, if you die, you're never put back more than like 60 seconds or 2 minutes. So even though they're talking about these one-hit death boss fights and stuff, realize the fact that if you're just going to be redoing that 60 seconds over and over and over again, eventually you will get it right. Eventually you'll find the weakness of that particular opponent and get a really sweet win and feel like a better gamer because of it. This isn't going to be 20-minute boss fights where you just stepped on a piece of grass once and you died. This is probably going to be a very forgiving difficulty level, even if it is relatively high at the start. Either way, I'm just excited. I had to read these tweets because it's very, very funny to me. I don't know. I think the difficulty is more good than bad, but I guess we'll see what happens. I still predict that this is going to be one of the highest selling games of the year. We'll see though. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Hey, I want to actually shout somebody out. I don't do that very often, but my buddy Soldier First Class, he's done a bunch of Final Fantasy content. He's kind of pivoting towards Ghost of Tsushima. He's been doing like news updates and stuff. He's a smaller YouTuber, absolutely top-notch work. Seriously, just wanted to salute you, Soldier First Class. He's a buddy of mine, but more than that, I feel like I'm a fan of his content. So seriously, man, keep it up. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.